Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Charura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Thou son of Vasudeva, the bliss of Mother Devaki, the destroyer of the evil forces of Kamsa and Chanura, to Krishna as God and Guru, we salute. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 12. We'll take it from the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. And we've subtitled it, The Ignoble and the Noble. It's nothing to do with this ignoble prizes or the Nobel prizes. The Lord is speaking about the characteristics of people which he has already delineated is in Avajananti Mam Muda. These foolish people, they do not know me, who am the Lord of all beings, who has taken this human body. So he's going to speak about these fools, the foolish people. There are times when the Lord, he does use some very strong language. And this is one of the limits of. And we had discussed it there and left it. We'll take the thread up of the Lord's arguments. Of vain hope, of vain karma, of vain knowledge, and senseless, they become verily possessed of the bewildering nature of fiends and demons. We'll take this up slowly, break it up. Mogasha moga karmano moga jnana vichetasaha rakshasim masurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Moga is vain, the vanity. Asha is hope, of vain hopes. Moga karmano, of vain actions. Of vain knowledge. And vichetasa, that is the commentator as well as the translator has translated as senseless. It is when you lose your discriminative intelligence. Chetas becomes vichetasa. Your consciousness is now muddied because all your actions, your knowledge, and your hopes, and your everything is based on vanity. And as Swami Vivekananda says, vanity of all vanities. He is quoting an old monk who had written these very words in The Imitation of Christ. Thomas A. Kempis is one of those classics in Christian literature. Many people, they don't know this about this book. And Swami Vivekananda translated some parts of this book also. So vanity of vanity, all is vanity. Those are the great words. So this of vain hopes, of vain karma, of vain knowledge, and the mind has become kind of senseless. That is, the mind has lost its moorings. And what happens then? In that case, they say, Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva Mohinim Prakritim. They are imbued or rather they take the support of ashrita, of fiends and demons. Now, these are extremely cruel people, evil people. They are, in the literature, we have these asuras and rakshasas galore, and the gods are busy fighting them. And we see them in the whole of this mythological literature. There's the constant struggle against these evil forces. The suras, the gods, are fighting the asuras, the ungodly. So you can say that Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva. Asura is these ungodly. Rakshasa, the evil, the wicked, the extremely cruel people. These are the demonic people, that everything is perfect in this world. And such people come and spoil the whole show. And there are some people who take up cudgels to break them, but they are unbreakable. This is the nature of Maya. So these are the people who have not understood that the Lord can take an form, or human form. And we had seen last time that when he's talking about his cosmic being, and yet he's also speaking about him as embodied. And we had given an illustration of when you can see the Pacific Ocean in a drop of that Pacific Ocean water, then your knowledge is complete. Otherwise, it's just, can you see that whole ocean in a drop of water? And that is when you can recognize that the Lord can embody, though the Lord is infinite. So the commentator also is kind of, he is put on, like, he's put his foot on the gas pedal and he's going out. So he says, of vain hopes, because they think that the results of action can come by themselves. You perform an action, and the results of the action can come by itself. You don't need a conscious agent. You don't need consciousness. This is simple, gross materialism. Okay? Vedanta will always bring in the conscious agent. Always. There is, the whole thing is guided by consciousness. We won't get diverted, but just to stick to this thing. And moga karmana, because when they work, not keeping God in their hearts or in their minds or in their actions, all their works are vain. And this is what leads us away, gradually away from God. So whatever they do and think and talk and even imagine, it's all vain. Because they have not understood the fundamental principle of karma. That is, Sri Ramakrishna says, God alone is the doer. And when you can recognize this is knowledge. And when you think, I am the doer, this is ignorance. So these are of vain karma, vain actions. And vain knowledge. Yes, you can see this in the world. And especially nowadays when you open this internet, my God, most of this thing is simple trash, rubbish. Conspiracy theories abound and they are galore. And everything is fake news of it. Where is the truth? When you search for things, what are you looking for? Twisted and according to convenience, of course. And we see this knowledge, very few, the core of real knowledge is very, very, you can say, rare. And if you can come down to that, that is uplifting. Otherwise, all your knowledge, in spiritual life, sensory knowledge itself is a great obstacle. Yeah. So the first thing that spiritual life recommends is get away from the senses. Because the senses are limited. They're the whole bandwidth of the spectrum, and you're taking a small part of that spectrum and saying, this is reality. It is not the reality. And you're basing all your great intelligence on that small bandwidth. This is the idea of vain knowledge. Our eyes, you are blinded. And as you've seen, that's like the blind leading the blind. Ande naiva niyamana yata anda, and both fall into a ditch. So it's like this. So the moment you bring in God, Sri Ramakrishna says, everything is kind of like 0, 0, 0, 0, shunya. But you put 1 before that zeros, and then you'll get the whole value of this. So that 1 is that God. You put that 1 numeral, and then all your zeros will be meaningful. Then it becomes, great knowledge. And as I said, vichetasa, mogasha, moga karmano, moga jnana, vichetasa. So the mind has become kind of... So there are, in the commentary on this Yoga Sutras, the commentator is saying that there are some minds which are kshipta, restless, vikshipta, alternately restless and we can say calm. And there's something called muda, stupid. So these 3 are not useful for the practice of yoga, though you can concentrate in these particular minds, but that concentration is not yoga proper. It is only when you come down to the ekagra and niruddha, that is when the mind is gravitating towards one-pointedness and a natural control comes in. Such minds are, you can say, competent to take up the yoga. The rest of these things, and Bhoja, the great commentator, says that these are Rakshasi. They are fiendish minds. And then the others are Daivi, the divine minds. Okay? They've made a kind of classification. So when the mind is stupid, it is completely restless, and we see this in society. All the mental health problems are due to the mind is running riot. The whole of this society is tailored for you to stop paying attention to one thing for a longer duration. Pay attention to one thing just for a while and move on and move on. And so it is designed to make your mind restless, as if they are interested in making you yogis. Yeah. Make you bogies, enjoyers. So that's why they keep you pushing on and newer things, newer toys to keep you engaged. So this kind of mind is vichetasa. Okay? That mind has lost its moorings. And then we say Rakshasi, that the fiendish, the evil, the cruel, the wicked, those minds, they, I don't need to elaborate in any Prakritim, that is the nature, their nature. They take that nature, the the support, or they imbued with that nature of this evil and cruelty and wickedness and lies and crime. See, LA is so beautiful, you know? On the surface, that's only on the surface. Wait. Look down and you see the underbelly. It's not only in LA, it's in all cities, all towns, everywhere. The dark underbelly. So that also is part of every society. That's because part of ordinary human nature. So these people, they take that help of the, and then what happens? They are deluded. These are the Prakriti Mohinam Shrita. Moha is kind of a delusion. That is Mati Brahma. That is for more momentarily your mind is deflected. And then that deflection itself, you know, makes you kind of fall down over and over again. It's like, you know, like Shankaracharya, he's given an example of a ball falling down the stairs. The landing, it goes down, and goes down there, the landing. The ball cannot come up by itself. Prachuta keli kanduka sopana pankto patati yatastata. So it's like it goes down. So the moment you step away from the truth, when you stop stepping away from being real, you slide slowly down. And that itself is enough. And when you're going full speed, that a little deviation itself will take you after a few months or few years far away from where you intended to go. So this is the ignoble. And then to make a differentiation, then what about, this is only, the world is teeming with that, but there are others. The next verse, take this up, 13th verse. On the other hand, two, as they say. O son of Pritha, that's Arjuna, the noble-minded ones who are possessed of divine nature and are single-minded adore me by knowing me as the source of all created things and who is immutable. Okay. You get the idea. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananya manaso jnatva bhutadim avyayam. So, Mahatma, you know, you have the great and Atma, sir. Yeah, it's not that big Atma, that real Atma. It's the mind. The great souled ones, those who embody greatness, Mahatmanas. Who are these people? You can know them by they take their nature is imbued with divine qualities. Okay? Now this is easy, and we leave it as that because there is a very long elaboration of these divine qualities enumerated by the Lord in the 16th chapter. Abhayam, Sattva, Samshuddhi, etc. I'll read it a little, give you a kind of idea of what divine qualities are. So these people, they have taken the support, their nature is imbued with these divine qualities. The commentator Madhusudan Saraswati says, these are the Sattvika people, the Sattva Guna. And these two types, the fiendish and the demonic, they are the Tamagunas and the Rajogunas. Those which create this passion and the sloth and envy and hate, all these things. So these are the ones who are light and luminous and full of knowledge. So they worship bhajanti Ananya manasa. This is single-mindedness. And this is very important. In a couple of times, this word has been used by the Lord, Ananya manasa. Your mind should be ananya, no anya. There should be nothing else but that one goal. That is called, Swami Vivekananda starts with the Ishta Nishta. When you have that steadfastness to your ideal, and that which keeps on growing and growing and growing, that is called the Nishta, the steadfastness. And this gives us a steadfastness in knowledge. Because one of the greatest commentators on the Bhagavad Gita, he speaks about, in his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, as Jnana-nishta and Karma-nishta. That is the steadfastness in knowledge and the steadfastness in work or karma or yoga. Okay. So, bhajanti, we won't go into the grammatical twaddle, but we have our Sanskrit Pandita here. Bhajdhatu, Deva Puja, Sangati Karna, Daneshu. So, they worship a single-minded devotion. When can this ever arise in a person's mind? When that person has seen the vanity of all vanities. All actions, all thoughts, all words are just kind of surface phenomena. Your thoughts and words and deeds, your whole life has meant nothing to you and nothing for the world. Just for example, we do all the talking and we do all the singing and we do all the chanting. But when a great souled one does chanting and meditating and singing, that leaves a permanent impress on the world, and which helps the world immensely. For instance, if you take the Ramcharitmanas of Tulsidas Goswami, he's a great, you can say, saint who wrote the, you can say, the life of Rama, of the mind lake, Ramcharitmanas. This one book has been for more than 5 centuries, you can see the soul of millions of people. Millions of people have read this book. They have worshipped Rama, and they have, in every department of life, in their depression, in their joy, in their happiness, in their sorrow, they have taken recourse to these teachings in the Ramcharitmanas to give them the strength. It is this that gives a people and a culture and a society strength. Otherwise, it's nothing. And that's why you can endure and forbear and undergo tremendous sufferings for this. So these are the great souled ones. They have worshipped the Lord with a single-minded devotion. And how? Okay, what is this? I'm worshipping this God, that God. Yeah, know that God to be the beginning of all creatures. Saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end, middle and the middle also. So you have in the beginning, Bhut Adi, and immutable. Everything in this world is mutable, changeable. Everything is under the law of cause and effect. Everything changes. Everything. You may think that this table does not change, it's unchanging. You are wrong. Because the very fact of name and form, nama rupa, means constantly. But there is one thing that does not change, and that is Ishvara, God. That is what's called immutable. Okay? So there's a long discourse in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad about the Gargi is questioning Yajnavalkya about this immutable Akshara. There it's mentioned as Akshara. Akshara is to decay, to be mutable, and Akshara is that which is immutable. So, and there's a long discourse. It's one of the most sublime discourses there you'll find. So under this immutable rule, the Gargi, everything runs. Everything. I mean, he enumerates them one by one, but then, so this immutable is not something that is kind of passive, has got nothing to do with you and me. We are doing life and death struggles here. And this immutable, the Lord of all beings, he's taking it easy. No, that's not what we like. So we are doing here and God is somewhere in heavens. I don't know what he's doing there, kind of. Yeah. So bring that God back here. So Sri Ramakrishna says, when you start religion, first God is out there. And then you say, God is here. And then God has become all these. These are the three stages of religion. Religious growth, spiritual growth. So here when we see that this entity, the being, the truth or reality is avyaya, immutable, imperishable. It is bhutadi, that is, it is all beings have the origin from this. So these are the people who are the great-souled ones, the noble ones. So we've seen the ignoble ones, we've seen the noble ones. And then he's saying, they worship me with single-minded devotion. Yeah. Now, the Lord himself kind of now clarifies, what's a single-minded devotion? Yes, okay. So he's saying, always glorifying me and striving, firm in their vows, paying obeisance to me, remaining always imbued with devotion, they worship me. Okay. Now, I'll go through it again. So to fix it in, what is this continuous worship? How does a person does continuous worship without any kind of deviation? We glorify the Lord and we strive. And we are firm in our vows. Religious vows, of course. I'm not going to eat chocolates today. That is no vow. Okay. Well, it's kind of a practice session. You can go ahead, but then it's not religious vow. Paying obeisance to me. To see the Lord in everything and see in the dawn and the sunrise and in pain and in disease and life and death, see the Lord, pay obeisance to that. It takes a great deal of devotion to do that. And that, of course, is why they are called the great-souled ones. They remain imbued with devotion, and thus they worship me. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantasya dridavrata namasyantasya mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. They worship me. Upasate. To go near, sit down, worship. They worship, upasana. And always, continuously, satata, always, kirtan. You might think like, oh, let's do that Hari Bol, Kirtan. Yeah, that is also one form of glorification. But Kirtayanta is the proper glorification. You don't need to dance and you don't need to jump and sing. So Kirtana. So this is one of those 9 forms of devotion that the Bhagavatam speaks. And it speaks of Smaranam, Kirtanam, Padasevanam, etc. We won't go into that. But it forms a part of devotion. Kirtana. Satatam Kirtayanta. Who, the Lord says, to me. Once Swami Subodhananda had gone to Sri Ramakrishna, and then there was a lot of kind of kirtan, singing and dancing and jumping and this and that. When Sri Ramakrishna was there, everybody there. And after the whole kirtan, that dancing and singing, the joyous thing was finally over, and everybody left. And then Swami Subodhananda, he was a boy, and he was very simple, not childish, but childlike. He went and he came and he asked Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was surprised. Oh, you're still here? Tell me, who really had ecstasy today? Because he had seen all these people swooning and falling down in great devotion. So Sri Ramakrishna said, yeah, Leto, that is Swami Adbhutananda had. The rest had a kind of a smattering. Even there, people were kind of, something seizes their nerves and they kind of fall down in a kind of a stupor, nervous excitement. There are some who are trying to imitate those kind of bhava samadhis. Sri Ramakrishna, only Leto, that is only Neto, only Shraddha. You see, Subodhananda also had that insight to see into things exactly what's happening. Everybody jumping and singing and dancing. So you might get into the minds and, oh yeah, that Satatam Kirtayanta, keep on singing and dancing and jumping. And no, it's nothing like that. So it's just that constant glorification, firm in their vows. Now, Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras, when he's speaking about these great vows, Mahavrata, saying Sarva Bhauma Mahavrata, these are great vows. They are not limited to time, place, person, everything. They are for all times. Okay? This is. And this is what they're saying. These people, when they take up something, they hold it like grim death. They're not going to let go. Yeah, whatever. You can take, there are hundreds of examples. So they don't let go. They hold on. This is wow. They're not going to relax. They don't want a diversion. They don't want it. What happens is they are orienting their lives according to these vows. That's why it becomes natural to them. Otherwise, it is going to be a very big struggle because it's not in your nature. So these vows become a kind of an impelling force then. Your life becomes tremendously powerful because your life gets depth when you are following some of these great vows. There are many, like Sri Ramakrishna says, truthfulness alone is the discipline in this age, Kali age. Hold on to this, see what happens. At all times, at all places, and you see everything falling into place. The world which was supposed to be was first looking miserable, now will drop its pretensions in front of you because you stand for embodied truth and the world will give up its pretensions and it will open itself up to you. Then you know what these great vows do to you. So this is why these people, they take up these vows, they're firm in these vows. Paying obeisance to me. Yeah. Namasyantascha. We come do namaste. And then we go out and, hey, how are you? Keep a kind of a current beneath your, you can say, thoughts. And that will be a kind of constant obeisance. Feel grateful, thankful. Today is Thanksgiving Day. You've got to be thankful. Yes, this is exactly what it is. Namaste. You pay obeisance, you're grateful, the gratitude to be born, to have certain, you can say, facilities that enable life to remain sane. Many people don't even have those kind of basic necessities. So life becomes a kind of a torture. So Namasyantasya, always remaining imbued with devotion. Nitya yukta upasate. They are constantly now worshipping this with devotion, bhakti. So nitya yukta is they are constantly joined together. You know what? Joined together, yeah. You have a lower self and a higher self. So how do you keep yourself joined to your higher self? People, they have some very queer ideas about spiritual life. And they will talk about Kundalini, the Kundalini and this and that and this thing. Wait. And yoga also, they have got. First you have to yoke all your small thoughts with your big thoughts. This yoking takes time. You yoke the insignificant things in your life with the significant things in your life. It's a very gradual process. And then first, our bodies are going there, this side, our mind is going there, our life breath is somewhere, somehow pounding and pumping somewhere. You have to yoke your body to your breath. Then it becomes integrated. Yoke your breath, your prana, to the mind. That is real integration. And then those thoughts which are there, you keep on integrating them, yoking them one by one to higher and higher and higher, those significant higher thoughts, divine thought. And this is what you, and then yoke the whole thing to your own individual consciousness. This is yoga. People think, let us lie down flat, let us practice yoga. Yeah. Well, so this process will take time, but it's a sure shot. And if you do it with devotion, bhaktya, you do it with devotion, then it becomes quicker. Start getting integrated. This integration is nothing but yoga. Okay? Yoga, yuj, to join. The word has got two meanings. One is concentration, deep concentration, and one is to yoke, to join. So both these. So this is satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drida vrata. Drida, strong, immovable. Vrata is vows, immovable vows. They, because it, like I said, it has become part of them. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasati. This. So these are the noble, the great-souled ones. They are the world movers. And we are all the ignoble. You know, the ignoble prizes, they are the trivial, the satirical, prizes in science. the great ones are the Nobel Prize, Very strange, the Nobel Prize given by Alfred Nobel, he invented dynamite that has killed millions and millions of people, and then saying, okay, we'll give you 5 prizes, peace and this and that and all, for contributions to persons who have done something good for the whole year. It started. This is life, this is Maya. But so this is the noble and the ignoble characteristics. So the noble is sattva guna, and the ignoble is nothing but rajo and tamaguna. Okay? And there's a clear distinction. We have to travel from this to this. And how does it start? By not denying the reality called truth or God, and whatever names you like to call God. He has 1,000 names, 1,000,000 names. All names are His. Your name, my name, and everything are nothing but God's names. So once you can understand this, that is consciousness that is impelling everything, acknowledge it and then start. And once you begin, you're drawn slowly. Yeah, Gaurima is saying, yeah, if your Paramahansa is such a great, he'll draw me to me. And she was a great, you can say, disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. One of the first, you can say, nuns, sannyasini, initiated by Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna and all. My God, everybody loved her. So one day, she told Balram Babu, because he was trying to convince her, come and see this holy man at Dakshineshwar. He was so great, he'll draw me to him. And the next morning, she is worshipping her Narayan Shila. She used to carry that emblem of Vishnu all through around her. And suddenly she saw 2 feet there on the altar. And she swooned and fell. And then when she came to, she felt something tugging at her heart. And then Balram Babu took her to Dakshineshwar, and she felt that tug growing and growing and growing and growing. And when she reached Ramakrishna in his room, he's turning that thread round a spool. And he looked at, then she understood. This is that holy man who's drawing me. She's saying, if there is such a holy man, let him draw me. And this is how. So in one way or the other, when you take the first step, then you are drawn. Yes, you all are drawn, whether you want it or no. It's not here. In some of us, we need a nose ring, something like this. In India, we have the bullocks, we have the big metal ring around the nose. It's very sensitive. And you tug it, the bullock will not say no. It will come along. So you put the nose ring and pull now. We'll stop here for today. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. We have a minute, so we can. After speaking about the whole Ramayana, then we'll start saying, Hatha Yoga exercises like Surya Namaskar beneficial to spirituality. So you keep on doing your Surya Namaskar. It's actually better than any kind of other type of exercises, because you have got your thoughts on God. Okay. So do it. It helps your body, it tones your body, and it helps your prana and the mind also. Okay, keep on doing it. Slowly, slowly. Okay, then everything is thank you, thank you. What's the ultimate source for Krishna in the world? What's the ultimate source for Krishna? No, Krishna is the source of the world. You're getting it exactly opposite. So, when I try to maintain a single-pointed focus on meditation, a lot of negative thoughts like fear, anxiety flood my mind with powerful interest. Is it normal? No, it's not normal. But then you keep on. The idea is you keep on persisting. Like suppose you travel from point A to point B, you see many things on the way, but your goal is to reach point B. You see them, but you don't really see all these things. So similarly, with all these things, they come in your mind, let it come, but don't move yourself from the asana, and don't stop doing japa. Keep on and on and on, and one day you'll see the japa, the mantra itself, the power of the mantra will become kind of powerful and will quell all these other things. So everything is restored. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.